The emergency klaxons died mid-wail when Station Commander R. Hill reached the maintenance bay doorway and saw 3 Krevnathi cubs sitting in perfect formation beside the human, their tails flicking in absolute synchronization. "Commander, we have visual confirmation." Specialist Azila's voice crackled through his comm. "The cubs are within 2 meters of lethal chemical exposure. Xenofluoride concentration at 93%. They should be seizing already." Rahil's secondary heart stuttered. The human, Mia Jones, according to her personnel file glowing on his HUD, was elbow deep in an open fuel line assembly, humming something soft and rhythmic. Completely oblivious, the 3 cubs, each no larger than a human child but possessing fully developed hunting instincts and paralytic venom glands, sat watching her work with the focused intensity his species reserved for stalking prey. "Sir, permission to deploy tranquilizer protocols?" Lieutenant Kylthas whispered from behind him. The entire emergency response team was stacked in the corridor, weapons ready, but nobody dared move forward. "Negative," R. Hill breathed. "Any sudden movement triggers hunt response. We move, they move. At that distance from the human..." He didn't need to finish. Everyone on the response team knew what happened when Krevnathi cubs entered hunt mode near prey species. The human would be dead before her body registered pain. Mia pulled a corroded component from the fuel line, examined it, and tossed it into a disposal bin with a casual clang. All 3 cubs' heads tracked the movement in perfect unison. No aggression, no prey drive activation. Just watching. "This is impossible," Azila said. "Commander, I'm reading pack bonding synchronization in their tail movements. That's den mother behavior. They've imprinted on her. On a human." Or Hill's claws extended involuntarily. "She's been on this station for what, 3 weeks? She's a maintenance tech. The cubs have never even been near the engineering sections." He stopped. "Have they? Check in security logs now." A pause. "Oh, ancestors. Sir, there's been a ventilation duct junction malfunction in the nursery wing for 17 days. Maintenance requests show. Jones has been routing through adjacent corridors daily for repairs. The cubs' containment area shares the same air circulation system." Rahil watched Mia reach for another tool. The cubs leaned forward slightly, tails still moving in that hypnotic, synchronized pattern. The smallest one, couldn't be more than 6 weeks old, made a soft, chirping sound. A comfort call, the kind cubs made when their birth mother was near. "How is she not dead?" Kael'thas whispered. "Sir, Krevnathi cubs kill anything that smells like prey within their first month. It's instinct. She's human. She should smell like the perfect hunt target." "The chemical exposure," Azila said suddenly. "Commander, xenofluoride doesn't just burn respiratory systems. It triggers every danger response we have. Flight, fight, territorial panic. The cubs are sitting in a cloud of it, and they're calm. More than calm. They're exhibiting active safety behaviors." Mia started humming again, some human melody that sounded like wind through canyon rocks. The cubs' ear flaps folded back in relaxation. R. Hill had seen that posture exactly once before, in documentary footage of Krevnathi mothers grooming their young in secure dens. "Sir, we need to make a decision," Kael'thas pressed. "Those cubs have been missing from containment for 47 minutes. Their parents are in separation panic. Station protocols require..." "I know what protocols require, Lieutenant." Rahil's voice came out harder than intended. He forced his breathing to steady. "But if we activate those protocols now, we trigger a hunt response in 3 apex predator cubs who are currently sitting 2 meters from an unarmed human. So what do we do?" Rahil watched Mia wipe her hands on her coveralls, completely unaware that she was at the center of a species-defining crisis. The cubs watched her, tails flicking, patient and focused. "We figure out," he said quietly, "why the most dangerous juvenile predators in known space think a human maintenance worker is their mother." Bioscan confirms respiratory synchronization, Azila reported, now standing beside R. Hill in the doorway. Her scanner trembled in her grip. "Commander, the cubs are matching her breathing rate. That's neurologically impossible. Different lung structures, different oxygen requirements, different—" "I can see the data, specialist." And he could. The readouts were clear. 3 Krevnathi cubs, apex predators bred by evolution to hunt anything that moved wrong, were breathing in perfect rhythm with a human who was currently elbow-deep in toxic chemicals that should have sent them fleeing in primal terror. Instead, they were leaning closer. Mia pulled out another corroded seal, and the middle cub, slightly larger than its siblings, shifted forward an inch. Its nose nearly touched the open fuel line where xenofluoride vapors were thick enough to be visible as a faint shimmer in the air. That concentration would drop an adult Krevnathi in 30 seconds. Kael'thas breathed. The cub's been sitting in it for almost an hour. "Try standard separation protocol," R. Hill ordered quietly. "Minimal movement. Parental authority tone only." Azila activated her translator to the Krevnathi maternal frequency. "Cubs, return to containment. Your parents await." All 3 cubs' heads swiveled toward them in unison. Their tails stopped flicking. For one terrible moment, R. Hill saw their pupils dilate into hunting slits. Then they growled. Not the warning growl of startled young. The deep, territorial rumble of juveniles protecting their den. The smallest one, the 6-week-old that should still be completely dependent on its birth mother, bared its venom fangs and shifted its body between Mia and the doorway. "Abort!" Rahil snapped. "Azila, abort the protocol." The specialist cut the frequency. The cubs' postures relaxed immediately, tails resuming their synchronized flicking. They turned back to watch Mia work as if nothing had happened. They threatened us," Kael'thas said, his voice hollow. "Cubs that age don't have territorial instincts yet. They shouldn't even understand the concept of, 'Oh, hey, did you guys need something?'" Mia's voice cut through the comm chatter. She'd finally noticed them, glancing over her shoulder with a smudge of grease across her cheek. "I'm almost done here. Just gotta flush the secondary line, and we're good." The cubs' tails continued their rhythmic flicking when she spoke, perfectly synchronized with each syllable. "Ms. Jones," R. Hill said carefully, keeping his voice level. Are you aware of what's sitting beside you?" Mia looked down, blinked. "Oh, yeah. They showed up about an hour ago. Cute little guys. They related to the Krevnathi delegation?" "Those are Krevnathi, Ms. Jones. Juvenile Krevnathi. Apex predator cubs." "Huh." Mia tilted her head, studying them. The cubs tilted their heads in mirror image. "They don't seem very predatory. Mostly they've just been watching me work." "Commander," Azila whispered urgently, "environmental sensors are reading xenofluoride at levels that mandate immediate station evacuation." How is she not even coughing? Rahil checked his own scanner. The readings were worse than he'd thought. The chemical concentration in that bay should have triggered automatic bulkhead seals 10 minutes ago. The human should be unconscious. The cubs should be dead or dying. Instead, Mia was wiping her hands on a rag, and the cubs were purring. That sound, the deep, resonant vibration that Krevnathi cubs made only in the presence of their biological mothers, only when feeling completely safe and content, filled the maintenance bay like a small earthquake. "Ms. Jones," R. Hill said, fighting to keep his voice steady, "I need you to listen very carefully. Those cubs have imprinted on you as their den mother." Mia laughed. Actually laughed. "Den mother? Commander, I'm just cleaning fuel lines. I'm pretty sure mothering requires, actual interaction. I barely noticed them until just now." "The biosigns don't lie," Azila said. "Respiratory synchronization, tail coordination, territorial defense, purring response to your voice. These cubs think you're their parent. That's ridiculous. I'm human. They're..." Mia gestured vaguely at the cubs, who watched her hand movement with focused intensity. "Space tigers, space velociraptors, whatever they are, we're not even the same species." The smallest cub chirped softly and scooted closer to Mia's leg. "Tell that to them," R. Hill said quietly. "Retriclawed can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Krevnathi cubs imprint on primary caregiver scent within their first week of life," Azila explained, her scanner now projecting holographic data streams into the air between them. "It's a survival mechanism. Whoever's scent permeates their early environment becomes their recognized parent, their safety anchor, their..." "But I haven't even interacted with them," Mia interrupted, confusion clear in her voice. "I mean, I work in maintenance. I fix broken stuff. I don't do whatever this is." "You didn't need to interact with them directly." Azila zoomed in on the ventilation schematic. "Ms. Jones, you've been in this maintenance bay every day for 17 days, working on the environmental systems. Your scent has been circulating through the nursery wing's air supply for over 2 weeks. To these cubs, your presence is everywhere. Your scent marked this entire section of the station as safe territory." Rahil watched Mia process this information. She looked down at the cubs, who gazed back with unwavering focus. "So I accidentally scent-marked a nursery by doing my job? You established yourself as the dominant presence in their developmental environment," Azila confirmed, "which means..." The smallest cub made a distressed chirp. Mia glanced at it, frowned, then casually reached for a hydraulic wrench 3 feet away. Every member of the emergency response team tensed. Arahil's hand moved instinctively toward his sidearm. The cubs tracked Mia's movement with predatory precision. Their heads swiveled in perfect unison. Their tails stopped flicking. Then Mia grabbed the wrench, and the cubs simply relaxed. Tails resumed their synchronized rhythm. The smallest one chirped happily. "Ancestors preserve us," Kailthas breathed. "They tracked her like prey and then just stopped." "Because she's not prey to them," Azila said quietly. "She's den mother. Everything she does is safe by definition." "Miss Jones," R. Hill said carefully, "could you try moving away from them? Slowly. We need to see how they respond." Sure?" Mia stood, wrench still in hand, and walked toward the far side of the maintenance bay. All 3 cubs rose as one and followed, maintaining perfect formation. 2 meters behind her, tails flicking in synchronization, moving with the coordinated precision of a trained unit. "She sits, they sit," Azila narrated unnecessarily, as Mia lowered herself onto a supply crate. 3 cubs sat in mirrored positions. "She stands." Mia stood. Cubs stood. "Commander, this is complete behavioral imprinting. I've never seen it this strong, not even in controlled nursery environments." R. Hill's calm crackled. "Commander, Emergency Council is convening. We have the cubs' parents in conference room 7. They're demanding immediate return of their offspring." "Understood. Keep them there. We're dealing with a situation that Arhil paused, searching for words. That breaks approximately 400 years of established socialization protocols. Sir? The cubs have cross-species imprinted on a human. We have no procedures for this. Tanas. Minutes later, the cubs' parents, two fully grown Krevnathi, each massing over 300 kilograms of apex predator, were escorted to the maintenance bay under armed guard. Rahil had convinced Mia to step back, to let the biological parents approach their offspring. The adult male, Zakran, moved forward with the careful posture of a parent retrieving young. He made the low, rumbling call that Krevnathi used to summon cubs. All three cubs hissed at him, not warning hisses, threat displays. The smallest one, Zakran's own biological offspring, bared its venom fangs and growled with surprising ferocity. "They don't recognize us," the female parent Tilana said, her voice breaking. "Our own children. They're treating us like threats." The cubs retreated toward Mia, forming a protective semicircle around her legs. She stood frozen, wrench hanging forgotten in her hand. "Okay," Mia said slowly, looking down at three apex predator cubs who were currently using her as their defensive anchor point. "This is officially weird. But..." She crouched down to their level. All three cubs immediately pressed closer, purring. "They are kinda cute. In a terrifying could-definitely-kill-me sort of way." "They won't kill you," Azila said with certainty. "You're the only thing in the universe they won't kill, your den mother." "Great," Mia said. "Just what I always wanted. To accidentally adopt 3 alien cubs by cleaning fuel lines." Rahil watched Zakran and Tilana stare at their offspring with expressions of grief and confusion. 4 centuries of socialization protocols, countless studies on proper Krevnathi development, entire academic fields dedicated to understanding their imprinting mechanisms. All of it rendered meaningless by a human maintenance worker who'd simply shown up and done her job. "Commander?" Azila said quietly. "What do we do now?" Arhil looked at Mia, who was awkwardly patting one cub's head while it purred loud enough to rattle tool carts. "I have absolutely no idea. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses." Azila spent the next 2 hours reviewing security footage while Arhil coordinated with increasingly panicked xenopediatric specialists across 3 star systems. Nobody had answers. Nobody had even heard of cross-species imprinting at this level. "Commander," Azila finally said, her voice tight with suppressed excitement. "You need to see this." The holographic playback showed Mia from 17 days ago, entering the maintenance bay for the first time. She was humming that same melody Rahil had heard earlier. Azila overlaid an audio analysis. "That frequency," she said, pointing to the waveform, "matches Krevnathi den call patterns within 0.03%. It's not exact, but to developing cubs hearing it through ventilation systems, it would register as a parent signaling safety." She was humming a den call? Accidentally, yes. And look at this. Azila fast-forwarded through footage of Mia working. Her movement rhythm while doing maintenance, the steady, repetitive motions, they match the resting heartbeat frequency of an adult Krevnathi. Cubs develop in utero synchronizing to that rhythm. It's literally the first pattern they learn to recognize as safe. Rahil watched Mia tighten bolts, adjust pressure valves, clean components. Every motion methodical, rhythmic, steady. She was simulating a heartbeat just by doing her job normally. And the chemicals. Azila pulled up environmental readings. Xenofluoride should terrify them. But Commander, Krevnathi mothers hunt with their cubs watching from as early as 4 weeks. The cubs learn that if mother is calm during danger, The danger is controlled, manageable. So Mia, working calmly in toxic chemicals, taught them that she's an apex presence. Nothing threatens Den Mother, so nothing threatens them while she's near. Azila's hands trembled as she closed the holoplay. Commander, she's been unconsciously broadcasting every major Den Mother signal our species uses for over 2 weeks, during the Cub's critical imprinting window. Rahil looked through the window into the maintenance bay. Mia was sitting cross-legged on the floor, 3 cubs arranged around her in perfect formation while she explained something about pressure differentials. They watched her with absolute focus. So, I accidentally adopted 3 alien cubs by cleaning fuel lines? Mia's voice carried through the comm. That's what you're telling me? Rahil activated his mic. Ms. Jones, you've done something our best specialists, with centuries of study and carefully controlled environments, have never managed. You've made them feel completely safe. I was just working. Exactly. Azila leaned closer to her scanner. You weren't trying to parent them. You weren't following protocols or techniques. You were simply present, consistent, calm, everything a developing cub needs to feel secure. Zakran's voice came through the conference room link. What does this mean for our children? Standard protocol requires cubs to imprint on their own species for proper social development. They need to learn Krevnathi behaviors, our hunting techniques, Your children have imprinted across a species barrier. Hill interrupted, more harshly than intended. This is unprecedented. We don't have protocols because we never thought it was possible. But surely they can be re-socialized. Talana's voice carried desperate hope. Given time, proper exposure to Krevnathi adults, they'll remember. They won't. Azila pulled up neurological scans. Critical imprinting period is closing. In another 72 hours, these patterns become permanent. The cub's neural pathways have structured themselves around Ms. Jones as their primary attachment figure. Attempting to force separation now would cause catastrophic developmental trauma. Silence filled the comm channel. So, what are you saying? Zakran finally asked. I'm saying, Azila said carefully, that we need to study this, document it, understand it. But right now, in this moment, those cubs need her. Breaking that bond would be cruel and potentially dangerous, to them and to her. Rahil watched Mia gently move the smallest cub away from a pile of sharp tools. The cub chirped and scooted back to a safer position, completely trusting. Ms. Jones, he said, we're asking you to participate in something that's never been done before. Supervised interaction during their critical development period. We'll have specialists observing, documenting, helping you understand what they need. But ultimately, he paused. They've chosen you. The question is whether you'll choose them. Mia looked down at 3 pairs of eyes staring up at her with absolute trust. She laughed, soft and slightly overwhelmed. I mean, I came here to fix environmental systems, not become an alien mom, but... One of the cubs rubbed its head against her hand. Yeah. Okay. I guess we're doing this. This changes everything, Azila whispered to Hill. 400 years of xenopediatric theory just rewritten by a maintenance worker who was humming while cleaning fuel lines. Rahil nodded slowly. Contact the council. Tell them we need new protocols. Because apparently, the best den mother in known space is a human who thought she was just doing her job. 3 weeks later, Station Commander Hill signed off on Official Directive 7743, Human Den Mother Protocol for Cross-Species Socialization Programs. He still couldn't believe he was writing those words. Mia's maintenance schedule has been adjusted, Azila reported, reviewing her data pad. Morning rounds with the cubs, then afternoon repairs when they're in supervised play sessions with their biological parents. Zakran and Tilana are adapting. They're learning to share their children with a human, Arhil corrected. That's more than adapting. That's paradigm collapse. But it was working. Somehow, impossibly, it was working. The cubs were thriving. They'd learned to respond to both Mia's casual instructions and their parents' traditional Krevnathi training. When Mia taught them to sort tools by size, they applied that same categorization instinct to their hunting practice. When she showed them how to check pressure gauges, they transferred that patience to stalking exercises. They're learning precision from her, Azila observed, watching through the observation window. Patience. Careful attention to detail. Those are survival skills for any apex predator, but they're learning them through human methods. Other species had noticed. 2 Thoraxian cubs had wandered into the maintenance bay last week, curious about the calm human presence. A Vexian juvenile had started following Mia during her rounds, chirping questions about tool functions. Arhil was documenting everything. Every interaction, every breakthrough. This changes galactic childcare completely, he muttered into his recorder. 400 years of rigid species-specific protocols, and a human maintenance worker accidentally discovers that safety transcends biology. Inside the maintenance bay, Mia was finishing the fuel line repairs that had started this entire situation. The 3 cubs sat in their now familiar formation, watching her work. But now they had their own miniature toolkits, child-safe replicas that Mia had requisitioned from somewhere. Okay, this one's sharp, so we're careful, Mia said, holding up a cutting implement. The cubs leaned forward, tails flicking in synchronization. We don't grab it by the blade. We hold it here by the handle. See? The largest cub carefully picked up its own tool, mimicking her grip exactly. The middle one chirped approval. The smallest one was already organizing scattered bolts into neat rows. They're learning through play, Azila said softly. Developmental specialists have been trying to optimize play-based learning for decades. She's doing it instinctively. Mia tightened the final connection and sat back. There we go. All done. Good as new. She glanced at the cubs. What do you think? Did we do good work? 3 synchronized tail flicks. 3 purrs of satisfaction. All right then. Mia stood, stretching. Let's clean up and head to the next job. Nav system needs calibration, and that's going to take a while. The cubs immediately began gathering tools, sorting them into her kit with surprising care. One of them carefully wiped down a wrench before placing it in the exact right slot. They're helping, Arhil observed. Actually helping, not just mimicking. They understand the task. Mia shouldered her toolkit and headed for the door. All right, guys, time to calibrate the nav system. You know the drill. Watch first. Help when I say it's safe. The cubs followed in perfect formation, tails flicking in rhythm with her footsteps. Somehow, Rahil had stopped questioning these things. They each had their own miniature toolkit slung across their backs. Should we tell her? Rahil asked quietly, as they watched Mia and her unlikely family disappear down the corridor. That she's revolutionizing xenopedagogy? That there are 14 research papers being written about her methods? That 3 universities want to offer her honorary degrees in developmental xenobiology? Azila shook her head. Better not. She might overthink it. Right now, she just thinks she's doing her job with some cute helpers. And that's exactly why it works. In navigation control, Mia settled into her work while 3 Krevnathi cubs arranged themselves around her workspace. She hummed that unconscious melody, the one that matched den call frequencies, and pulled up diagnostic screens. Okay, so the gyroscopic stabilizers are reading 0.3 degrees off-center, she explained to no one in particular. The cubs listened with focused attention. We're going to need to recalibrate the whole array, which means... She reached for a tool. The smallest cub carefully passed her the correct wrench before she even finished the sentence. Thanks, buddy. Mia got to work, tails flicking in synchronization with her movements, 3 pairs of eyes tracking every motion with the absolute trust that only comes from complete safety. From his observation station, R. Hill added one final note to his report. Subject continues to demonstrate unprecedented cross-species caregiving ability while maintaining she is just doing maintenance work. Recommend continued documentation and study. Also recommend expanding Human Den Mother Protocol to other species socialization programs. The galaxy, it seems, has much to learn from humans who think they're just cleaning fuel lines. Mia's voice drifted through the comm system, casual and completely unaware of the scientific revolution happening around her. You know, this is the weirdest Tuesday I've had in a while. The cubs purred their agreement.